message this for the viewers, so pick a section, have a seat. Yeah, I know this is different, quit with the questions. Allow me a second, please, to make my first impression.
YouTube, what's up? Welcome back to another Pounds 978 Customs video. And tonight we have the hybrid symbiote. Pretty cool. I've done one of these before. I always wanted to do another one and do it a little better. I think this is a little better. It's not perfect, but it is an upgrade compared to the last one. If you want to see the last one, feel free to click this card. But for now, let's talk about this guy. Scott Washington was a guard assigned to provide security for scientists who conducted cruel experiments on the Agony, Lasher, Riot, and Phage symbiotes from Earth 616. When the four symbiotes combined themselves to survive, they became one new hybrid symbiote. The newly created symbiote broke free and possessed Scott. Sharing the pain and fear of the four symbiotes, overcome with grief, he helped the hybrid symbiote escape. Later, when Scott was shot and paralyzed, the hybrid symbiote returned to pay back his kindness and bonding with him, returning his ability to walk again. Realizing the powers he now possessed as a symbiote host, Scott became the vigilante known as Hybrid. He joined the New Warriors and became a hero until his death at the hands of a deranged Eddie Brock, who was on a crusade to kill all symbiote hosts. Here are some of the powers Hybrid possesses: superhuman strength, wall crawling ability, spider sense neutralization, web generation, camouflage capabilities, and flight, what I like. Hybrid can use his symbiote to create tendril-like wings to fly short distances, hence to why he has these wings here. I thought they fit pretty well when I saw them. I found them at a comic shop. I paid a 25 cents for that back piece, believe it or not. I bought it. I knew it was going to be for Hybrid. I didn't know exactly when. I bought this maybe like 6-7 months ago, and I had it in the fodder box since. But I think it looks perfect, or well enough to go with this Hybrid. By the way, that back piece is also a Hasbro piece, except it comes from a Batman Beyond figure. Shout out to my buddy on Instagram who put me onto that. I didn't know until he said that. Also, a very sad thing to know that the four symbiotes are him now. Scream was never part of him because Scream died later on her own, where these four symbiotes met their death by the hands of Scream, actually. So, damn. Hybrid has always been one of those designs that catch your eye no matter when you see it. And every time I did see it, I've saved a picture because I knew I wanted to create this guy. And the first time I did it, I wasn't prepared to create customs like that. I don't think anyway. This second time isn't bad, but they say third time's the charm. So I believe the next time, if I ever get the opportunity to make him again, he'll be slightly different, of course, and better. But then again, who knows? I do like this a lot. I think the color shade is what really catches my eye. It going from a dark red to a bright red is pretty cool to me. I don't know, it looks like red velvet cake or red carpet, or I don't know, it's just the best way I can describe it, a red velvet cake. This back piece can come off if you wanted to. It's not pegged on, it's actually held on with a magnet. But I like the way it is painted. These wings are from an old Hasbro Batman Beyond figure. I believe the name is Laser Batman Beyond. And these tendrils, or these wings, are actually translucent orange, and they have this little hook at the top of them that have this like shooting arrow or something. But I just removed that and I gave it a repaint, sanded down the peg area a little bit, and inserted a magnet to attach it to this figure. But it is pretty stock. I did want to sculpt over those what looked like computer circuit board lines. I wanted to sculpt over that and make it a more smoother surface, but I felt like it wasn't necessary. And now that I look at it, it is maybe necessary because it looks kind of mechanical, or at least biomechanical, like organs mixed with robotic parts to a degree. I think the spikes kind of sell it as tendrils, and the wings look organic enough. But I do like the way it's painted once again. Sorry to come back to that, but this is the first time I kind of did this style of airbrushing, and so I think it came out pretty clean for my first attempt at doing what I call a sunrise airbrush. And that's pretty much just coming from the top and letting it spray down. And that gives you kind of a more saturated look up top, where in the bottom it isn't. So the top you see is more red, but if you flip it upside down, the figure looks darker, like a black. But there's no black used in this figure. What appears to be black is actually the darkest shade of red you can get before you get to black. And then the brightest shade of red on the opposite side. I think that looks cool because he is supposed to be hidden in the shadows. So if you're looking at him from below, you will see a black shadow. But if you see him from up top where the light hits him, then you'll see what he looks like. But I think he'll be on top of rooftops and you'd be on the ground. So looking up at him, you'd barely even notice. Oh, what's that? Some dust. Oh, I thought it was scratched for a minute, but it's just some dust. Brushed right off. I drilled a hole and inserted a magnet inside this wing. It's not the best. And then I also drilled a hole and put a magnet in here as well. These magnets are very strong, and so rubbing them together kind of will scratch the paint on the magnets, but the rest of the figure should be fine. This hole was where that arrow was, so I think if you wanted to, you could probably even put a peg stand in there or a piece of string and hang it from your ceiling. The magnets are sturdy enough for you to hold it. If you want to make yourself one of these, all you need is a Bucky Cat body, a little bit of sculpt. Good luck finding those laser Batman wings. You could probably use something else, maybe the Agent Venom tendrils or the Deadpool tendrils, and some Carnage hands. That's pretty much it. I happen to use a eel body, an eel head, a little bit of sculpt, Carnage hands, and then that laser Batman back piece, followed by a cool paint job. I say cool because again, I'm really impressed by how it looks. But it's like a ruby red. Whatever, pounds. We know, nigga. We know. And you don't know about this guy, though. I have yet to show him because I still want to add more to him. I want to extend his legs. And so I feel like he's just not ready yet. He looks pretty cool, I think. But he's just too stocky and short to be the movie Venom. So that's my tiny thoughts on this guy for right now. But you will see him in a couple days. So stay tuned and be patient if you want. I'm thinking about making another head, because I do have a couple heads for this guy. But anyway, the point of showing them together is because their paint jobs are sort of similar, the shading and the flat look, and so I thought they would look cool standing next to each other. Just like your standard Marvel Legends, you can move this figure around in the exact same poses you can with any other Hasbro figure. You shouldn't have any paint problems. I did my best to prepare the joints from any paint rub, so you should be free at doing what you want. But the head does go up, it does go down, turns left, turns right. You get a little bit of head giggles. Sorry. Shoulder goes up all the way, goes down all the way, does a 360 spin. Reason why I used an eel body and not a new Carnage figure was because these arms go all the way up. Bicep swivels. You do get a double jointed elbow painted inside as well. The wrist does hinge and swivel. It's a little tight on that hinge, but it does work. You do get the ab crunch. Ab crunch goes up and down 1 notch each. You get a spin at the waist, painted inside as well. You get a thigh split about that much. Not too much, but it works a lot better than some Spider-Man. Thigh cut, of course, works. Double jointed knees, painted inside. You get a boot cut on this one, and an ankle pivot and ankle hinge. So everything does function really well. You shouldn't have any problems. I mean, you will, depending on, the type of poses you're going to do. So be careful. If you want to see Hybrid next to a Spider-Man, bam! There he is. Hybrid and Spider-Man. I think they look good together. Remember, I didn't want to shade and fade because I wanted them to resemble Hasbro figures as much as possible. But I do think this will work on your shelf, especially being at like the tip top or the very background, or even in the front. It looks really good. And this is Pizza Spider-Man, well, the vintage Spider-Man, so it's a lot more matte than the glossy Pizza Spider-Man we got back a few years ago. This is the new Carnage from the Monster Venom wave. I just recycled the extra hands that he had and gave it to Hybrid. Before we close the video, I figured it'd be a good idea to show you guys some work in progress pictures in case you do want to make your own. Maybe this can help you along the way with a couple steps. Before I added any of the lighter shades of red, this entire figure was a dark, almost black shade of red. And then I lit it up a little bit with a lighter shade of red. And then when that dried, I went back and put another shade of even brighter red on top and sprayed it from the top side. Sculpted the horns over the head, and then I painted it, put the eyes in. I didn't sculpt the eyes, I just painted the eyes over the sculpt. I felt like that would do the job. Maybe next time I'll sculpt little pieces of the eyes to blend in with the sculpted horns. Sealed the figure and then went with one more shade of bright red on top again just to make it pop. Then it was on to attaching the cape, which wasn't a problem at all. I just had to sand down the peg that was on it and then drill a hole, put a magnet inside, give it a paint job to kind of match the figure. And the outside of those spikes are more bright than the inside. The inside is just a darker shade of red. Here's just a video I had before I was finished. I uploaded this on Instagram just to get some opinions. I like this custom a lot, and I know it's not about me, so I want to ask you guys, what do you think about this? Where would you rate it from 1 to 10, comparing it to Hybrid? In fact, if you guys haven't even seen Hybrid, here's what he looks like. One of the first images I've seen getting familiar with Hybrid, but you see that he is a couple shades of red going from black to a bright red. So I tried my best to kind of replicate that, but just not overdoing it because I'm still new with the airbrush, so I just want to get comfortable enough to be able to create some soft shading before I go super crazy. Because from what I see, there's people out there who've created masterpieces with an airbrush. And I'll shout out Freddie Fuller, man. That guy, check out the world's greatest customizers on Facebook. He has an amazing hand for airbrushing. But guys, if you like this video and you want to see more Spider-Man customs, feel free to like this video or give me a thumbs up, comment down below, let me know what your thoughts are on the custom and how I did on the review. And if you want to subscribe for more content, I would definitely appreciate that. I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed. Y'all are the man, and I'll see you guys on the next video.
To subscribe, you the man. Yes, you. Everyone below in the comments, yes, you too. Thank you very much for showing me love. Who knew? It's ironic how we think out the box for you too, right?
Sing, 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 sing. Everybody.